You know what I woke up to this morning? This fucking snow. Ugh. I know it's only January, but please, my God, I'm done with winter. I want to have spring. I was already, like, I was going out with ripped tights and a mini skirt already, and everyone was like, Amira, aren't you cold? I was like, yeah, a little bit. Because it's still fucking winter, but so it's cold, right? It fucking snowed again. I need something warmer, and I was gonna crochet Balaklava, but I think crocheted Balaklavas look so fucking ugly. So then I found a stitch that looks like knit, and I knit a Balaklava, but it didn't fit. So I left it in America. But now I learned knitting, so we're gonna knit a Balaklava. I already started, but I fucked up so bad, so I'm gonna start again. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna knit 10 stitches and you're gonna do rib knit. So you purl one and then you knit one and then you purl one and then you knit one. For those who don't know how to knit, I'm gonna show you. I'm using 2 balls of yarn. They're a weight 3 number light. One yarn bulb is 50 grams and 150 meters. So first you're gonna do slip knot. Take your yarn into your 2 fingers like this. Wrap it around your 2 fingers so you have a cross here. And secured with your pinky finger. You have 2 in the back. You go under the first one and take the second one and then slide it off your fingers, and then you can pull on this one and voila, put your needle through, pull on it, nice. Then take your yarn like this, wrap it around your thumb like this. Did you see that? So you just go under your thumb and then over it, and then you have a cross, and then you just go from underneath and you take it, and that's creating a loop. So you have 2 loops now, 3, 4, and you make 10. Take your yarn in between your fingers like this, so it's on top of your index finger, and then you go through the back loop. So you go into the loop to the back, you wrap around your yarn this direction, and you pull it through. Then you make sure the yarn is in the front, and then you go from the back. You go from the back to the front, and you wrap your yarn around over the top from the left to the right. You pull it down with your finger, go across like this. Now you make sure the yarn is in the back, and you go through the front, make sure the yarn is in the front, and you go from the back and wrap around from the left side to the right side and hold it down. So you always have to make sure you change where the yarn is in the front or the back. Anyways, I hope you understood that. If not, there are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to knit. So what you gotta look for is that when you want to knit one and then you want to purl one, so that you can do a ribbed knit. It's kind of hard to see now, but we stopped with the purl. So now you make sure the yarn is in the front. You come from the back, go over it from the right side to the left side. Then you put the yarn to the other side. You go through the back loop always, but to the back. Wrap your yarn around. Put your yarn over the needle to the front again. Go through the back to the front. Wrap your yarn around from the right side to the left. And just keep going. Now here you can already see the rows. So this is knit and this is purl. Knit, purl, knit, purl. So now you basically just repeat the first row. So first you do a knit and then a purl and then a knit and then a purl. Go ahead and do it. Oh, maybe you have your own way, because I know that I knit kind of weird too. Like it's different. And you just keep going until you have like a little bit, like 5 centimeters maybe. So we're almost done. Now you have to knit all of this onto this needle so we can stop. Now that you have everything on this needle, you're just gonna knit 2 stitches like normally. So you purl one and then you knit one. And then you take with your needle the back loop and you just put it over the second loop. And then you just knit one again. So you only always should have 2 or 1 stitches on the needle. Also make sure that you put the yarn always in the back when you put the last loop over the second loop. You should be left with 1 stitch. You just take your scissors and cut it off. Pull it through. So, this is our measurement patch. These are 10 stitches. You're going to take your patch and you see how stretchy it is. You're going to stretch it out once and then you're just going to leave it. It should snap right back. Then you're going to measure it. Now you can see it's 6 centimeters. Then you want to measure your head on the thickest part, which I would say is right here. And I have 54 centimeters. So now I made some calculations on how many stitches I want to do, but I ended up knitting a few rows and I didn't like it, so I changed my mind. We're gonna do this differently. So, oh, guess what? It's me just ripping everything apart again, as always. But you gotta trust the process, okay? So let's redo the calculations. So my piece is 6 centimeters and my head is 54 centimeters. Now we're gonna take from the 54, we're gonna take minus 5 centimeters is 49. Then we're gonna divide 49 by 6 is 8.16 and we're just gonna ignore that. So it's 8 and 8 times 10 is 80 and that's how many stitches we're gonna make. So this is how you make a knot again. Take it with your hands, wrap it around your finger with the cross here and secure it right here. Take you under the first one, take the second one, pull it through, put the loop on your needle and you can just pull it on the long string. Take yarn like this, wrap it around your thumb like this, and then you go this one, this is the second stitch, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're gonna make 80. So here again, if you already know how to knit, then just purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. But if you want to see again how I knit, I'll show you again. I go from the front through the back loop, and then I wrap the yarn around like this. So this is a knit. Now you're gonna put the yarn in front. You're gonna come from the back and go through the back loop to the front, and you're gonna go around like this and hold it down. So from the left side to the right side, then hold it down like this. And then you put the yarn on the back side again, you go through the back one, and then you go through the back loop and hold down like this. And then, so I never turn my work around, which you normally do with knitting. So I just knit this direction and then I knit back. So we stop with the purl, so I bring the needle up behind and I bring it forward. And then I bring the thread behind and I go from the front to the back. I bring the thread forward. I go from the back to the front like this, and yeah, you're just gonna keep doing that round for round until we have a little bit. This is what it should look like. Oh, isn't that like so cute, even in the pink? Oh, this is gonna be so fucking cute, the Balaklava. But look, it's like really stretchy and that's what we want, and just kind of keep going. So as you can see, it also fits around my head really nicely. It stretches a little bit. That's exactly what we want. And so this is the bottom part. So we're just gonna knit until we're like about here. Okay. This is what we got so far, but like I want it to be this long down here, so I need a few more rows. We need it until here, but look how beautiful this looks. Because I wanted to crochet a balaclava, but crocheted balaclavas are just not the vibe, I think. They're just not pretty. So that's why I'm knitting one, and oh, beautiful. Okay, just keep going until it's up here. Wait. Like, isn't this gorgeous? I don't know, I've been telling everybody, look how gorgeous it is. I hate knitting. Maybe I'm starting to love it because, it just looks heavenly. Anyways, it's like really stretchy, is exactly what we want. Fits around my head, nice and snug. And I think that this is long enough now. So I made a little patch, I experimented, And this is how we're gonna make the hole. I already have a plan. And you need another pair of needles for this. So anyways, I forgot to tell you, these needles, I don't have the measurements exactly, that's why I didn't tell you. But these are a 7 and an 8, and these are broader. I think this might be a 10, needle size 10. But anyways, you need some more needles and you need some more yarn. First, so my work is 27 centimeters long. This should be long enough. Yeah. So remember how many stitches you have. I have 80 stitches. So I'm gonna count to the middle. So I will have 2 middle stitches. I'm gonna use some stitch markers to mark it. I counted from both sides just to make sure. And I'm just gonna wrap it around my head and make sure this is in the middle. And I think I want it to be like this big. So including this stitch, it's 15 stitches. And we're gonna count 15 stitches into the other direction too. So this is the space that is going to be free. So you're gonna take another needle. It should be the same size. I don't have the same size. Mine is like a number more. And you're gonna knit all this way to the last stitch right here. So I'm not gonna knit this one, but this is the last stitch you're gonna knit. And you're just gonna knit normally. Now you're at the end, you have one more row here than here, and you're just gonna take another needle and you're just gonna go back. At the end, so I have 2 more rows here than here. I'm gonna go back. On this side, you're gonna make only 4 rows. Now we gotta do this part. So we gotta keep knitting. We gotta close this off until here, but we don't have any yarn, so we gotta add a new yarn. For that, just go into the needle and loop it over. To close it off, you gotta do 2 stitches and then put the last one over the second one and so on. But in total, we need 3 stitches with both of those yarns. So we have 2 pieces and then we take the last loop and put it over the first loop. Then we're gonna knit another stitch with both yarns and take the last loop, put it over the first loop. This is the 3rd stitch with both yarns. So now you can just drop the short pieces down and stop using them and only use the real yarn. And we just keep closing it off until we arrive at the last stitch right here. So in the middle, you can just take these 2 stitch markers out. We don't need those anymore. So this is what it should be looking like. You have your stitches right here and then you have nothing right here. So close up stitches, and now this is the last stitch. So you're just normally gonna keep going. Close this one off. And then we're gonna do one more. And close this one off. So now we closed all of the ones off, and now we're just gonna keep knitting 5 rows on this side. So we have 4 rows here, but I changed my mind again. We need 5 rows. So knit 1 more row here so the yarn is on this side. And on this side, including this row where we closed this one off, is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're gonna make 5, 6 rows out of that. So now you have the middle free. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows on this side, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows on this side. And now you're gonna count the stitches we have in between. For me, it should be 30, but I'll just count them again. So yeah, it's exactly 30 stitches. So now you're gonna, on this side, you're gonna add on 30 stitches. We're gonna add the stitches on just exactly how we did it in the very beginning. So you just make a loop around your thumb and then you pick up the stitches like this. 2, 3. So I cast on 30 stitches. I'm just gonna recount them real quick to make sure there's really 30. And now you're gonna take this side. I made a mistake. As you can see, it's twisted. So when you do this, you have to make sure it's not twisted. So I have my 30 stitches here, and now make sure that it's not twisted, so that this part is on the bottom everywhere. And then you connected, and you take both yarns. You take the yarn from this side and from here, and you do 3 stitches with both yarns. So 1, and now you can just let the other yarn hang out and cut it off. I already cut it off. And then you just keep knitting. So at the end it should look like this, and this part should not be twisted or anything. And now you're just gonna keep knitting back just normally and forth until we have a little bit more. So if you use a different needle size and yarn size than me, you should knit a little patch like this where you decrease the stitches, just like I'm going to show you in a second, and measure how long this is. Mine is 10 centimeters. Then you're gonna take your Balaklava and put it around your head, and you're gonna measure from the back to the front. For me, that's 30 centimeters. And then I'm gonna take away 20 centimeters. So I have 10 centimeters left, and you divide that through 2, so 5 centimeters. So I have to knit 5 more centimeters. If you have the same needle size and yarn size than me, I'm gonna tell you how many rows that is. So I did my 5 centimeters, and those are 8 rows. Oh, but if you're knitting like me, you have to knit 1 more back, so 9 rows. And now we're gonna start decreasing. So we're gonna start decreasing every 10 loops. So you're gonna count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the 10th stitch, you're gonna put a stitch marker. So you start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you count your stitches right, you should end with a stitch marker. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitch markers because I had 80 stitches. And now we always decrease in the beginning. The first one would be a purl, but we ignore this. We always do the decreases in a knit. So we just go through this one and then through this one and knit a normal stitch. So this is decreased. Then we keep knitting normally. So next one is a purl. So you put the stitch marker onto the new stitch. Then at the beginning, you decrease again. So you go through this one and then through this one. And you make a normal knit stitch. The next one is a purl. So you keep knitting normally until the stitch marker. And then your stitch marker one, you knit normally. And then you change your stitch marker onto the new stitch. Now you're at the beginning of a row of a 10 mark again. So you do the same thing over until you are finished with the row. So this is what you should have. And now going back, you just knit completely normally. You knit 1, you purl 1, you knit 1, and then, well, I'll show you. So this stitch, you purl the last one, so this one you knit, but the joined stitch you will always knit. So even if you had a knit before. And so we just knit this one, and now we start with a knit again, which is fine. We'll just start with a knit again. We keep knitting just normally. So this one, the joined one, is always a knit. So, and then the next one is a knit again, but that's fine. We'll just have 2 knits in a row. And you keep going like this, in this direction. So you're not decreasing or anything. You're just normally knitting, but you have 2 knit stitches next to each other. So now you're at the end again. And I just knitted my stitch markers in, so they're below now, which is fine. And now we go back, and after the stitch marker, exactly where this one is, we knit 2 stitches together. So I'll show you. I forgot in this row, but in the beginning, you also decrease. So you do 2 stitches in the very beginning, because that's at the beginning of a 10 stitches segment. So this is the stitch with the stitch marker. It's in the 9th stitch because this went away. And now we're gonna normally knit again 2 together. So this one and this one. And now we are gonna knit again. So we start with the knit again, and then a purl. And just keep doing that in this row. So now going back, you just knit, purl, and then you can see here, this is where it all runs together, and we have 1, 2, 3 normal knit stitches here. So we have 3 knit stitches in a row, and then we go back, purl, and so on. So we have a knit stitch here. Then this joined one is always a knit stitch, so we make another knit stitch. And then we have another knit stitch for the first one. And then we go back to purl. And you just keep doing that, this in this row. And here's the same thing again. You do 2 stitches at the beginning of every 10 stitch segment, or I mean the stitches went down, so. And then after the stitch marker, you knit 2 together again. And you just keep going with those 2 rows repeating each other until you don't have any stitches anymore. So this is what it's looking so far, and this is gonna be my last row. So in this row, every stitch is a decrease. So you should have 8 stitches left. In the next row, we're gonna decrease from this direction too. So do 2 loops and normally knit. Go 2 loops and knit. We're gonna decrease from this direction too. Now we're going to decrease one last time. And then you can cut the thread. And as you put it on, this is what it should look like. It's amazing. I'm just going to take out all the stitch markers and then we'll sew it together. So this is the right side, and you want to fold it together, right side on right side. So you have the left side, which is like the yarn hanging out. And then you put the edges together and you just sew together. To sew together, I'm just pulling through the thread and making a knot. I'm laying the thread ends over so I can just sew them in. And then I'm just sewing it together while keeping the threads in the middle so they're just sealed in. And then you can close it off by just making a knot with the string that comes out on the top. Then you can cut the yarn. Excuse my hair, I'm not done with making myself pretty, but you can turn your balaclava around and then you're done. And mine turned out a little bit long, but I'm just gonna fold it over like this. But look at this. God, perfect. Ooh, who is she? Okay, I'm gonna style this now. Cute. It actually just snowed today, so this is perfect weather for my balaclava. Well, this is what it turned out to be. I created a little outfit, with the pink bow, and look at the back. I thrifted these jeans, and look at the back, they're pink. So I was like, obviously, had to match them, and it's cute. It's giving. I also have pink sunglasses. I love it, but also it squishes my hair down so bad. So either I commit to a day and I wear this the whole day, or I don't wear it at all. So I don't know, but it looks good for photos or something. Oh, okay. Who's she? Who's she? Yeah. Anyways, here's another close-up. I do have to say though, it's really nice and warm and cozy, and also it stretches a lot, so it's really comfortable to wear, because the one I crocheted, it was very tight and didn't stretch as much, because crocheting just doesn't stretch as much, and it was pretty uncomfortable to wear. But this one you can see, you can literally see it's pretty loose. You can just pull it down. It looks cute. I look like a knight sometimes though, don't you think so? But I'm cute. This is cute. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video,
And let me know if in future you would like to see some styling videos or something. I don't know, of me styling the outfits for the things I make or whatever. Or just anything you'd like to see. Anyways, I love you. Goodbye.
Always the same.